Today, we are diving into something pretty fascinating. It's a proposal for a system that wants to completely automate training both in the corporate world and in higher education. It's called Bohlale AI, and they're not just pitching it as another tool. Oh no, they're calling it an entire AI teaching workforce. So let's break down what that really means.
Okay, so the whole idea behind this really kicks off with a pretty provocative question. What if you could slash your training costs by a whopping 80% and at the same time get rid of all the manual work completely? I mean, that's a seriously bold claim, and it's designed to tackle some very real and very common headaches.
Before we can really get the solution, we've got to understand the problems it's trying to fix, right? The source material lays out what it calls the modern training crisis, and it breaks it down into 4 main challenges. First up, the big one, the one that's always on everyone's mind, cost. Think about it. In the traditional way of doing things, if you want to train more people, you need more instructors, you need more rooms, you need more materials. The costs just scale right along with the number of students. It's a huge financial wall for any organization that's trying to grow.
Next, you've got the consistency problem. You know, if you have trainers in different cities, or even just different teachers on different days, how on earth do you make sure every single person gets the exact same quality of education? That kind of inconsistency can really water down your standards.
And then there's this hidden cost, the absolutely crushing administrative burden. We're talking about hours and hours and hours spent on manual stuff like grading tests, putting together reports, and printing out certifications. It's just a massive drain on time and resources that could be spent, actually teaching. And the final piece of this crisis? Engagement, or the lack of it. When learners are just sitting there, passively listening or reading, it is so easy for them to just zone out. And what's the result? Low pass rates, people not remembering what they learned, and ultimately just a whole lot of wasted money.
Okay, so those are the problems. And the proposed solution isn't just another piece of software. It's being framed as a whole new kind of workforce.
So what is Bohlale AI exactly? Well, the proposal defines it as a 24/7 multimodal AI system. Now, the key phrases there are multimodal, which means it's using video, chat, all sorts of adaptive learning, and trained on your curriculum. That's a big deal. It means this isn't some generic one-size-fits-all tool. It's a custom-built instructor just for your content.
Now, this slide here is really interesting because of how they frame the idea. This one single quote, "One AI-powered teaching workforce that never sleeps." It just perfectly captures the whole value proposition, doesn't it? It's scalable, it's tireless, and it's always on.
And if you look at the core features, they line up perfectly with that crisis we just talked about. Automation and auto-grading, that wipes out the admin work. Gamification, that's there to solve the engagement problem. And with support for over 100 languages and audit-ready reporting, you can see this thing is built for serious, consistent global scale. But look, features are one thing, right? Results are what really matters. This next part is where the proposal makes its most powerful claims, and it's all about performance. The claims here are incredibly bold, starting with a 95% learner retention rate. They say that's because of their interactive AI video, which is designed to keep people actively plugged in. And here's that huge number we saw at the beginning, an 80% cut in delivery costs. That's by getting rid of the need for physical instructors in classrooms. And to fight that low engagement problem, the system claims a 75% boost, which they link directly to its game-like learning features. Finally, because it's available 24/7, learners can get certified 60% faster than they would in a traditional program. You put all those numbers together, and it paints a picture of a really radical change in how we think about training efficiency. And this chart, wow, it really just hammers home the point about that admin overload we talked about. On the left, you see that huge pile of admin work from a traditional system. Then you look to the right with Bohlale AI, and it just plummets to zero. Zero manual grading, zero manual certification. The difference is just night and day.
So the performance claims are pretty impressive. But how does this all work in the real world? Let's take a look at how you actually put it into practice.
The whole process is laid out as a really simple 4-step journey. First, you provide the content, your curriculum, your tests. Then, the AI gets to work and builds all the interactive lessons and the grading systems. After that, it connects with your existing systems, and then you launch. And all the tracking is handled automatically. The business model is also really flexible. They offer 2 different ways to do it. You can pay a one-time fee to license the whole platform and own it yourself, or, and this is interesting, you can go with the pay-per-accreditation model. That means you only pay when a learner actually passes and gets certified. If nobody passes, you don't pay. It kind of shifts all the financial risk away from the company.
So when you pull it all together, the features, the performance, the business models, what's the real takeaway here? What's the big picture? Well, the core value really boils down to this. It's a training solution that lets you scale up without the risk. The flexible payment options take away that huge upfront cost, the built-in compliance handles all the regulatory headaches, and the AI-driven tech is meant to be a future-proof asset, not just some temporary fix.
And that brings us to our final slide, and a really big question. This proposal lays out a powerful vision for automated teaching. It really makes you wonder, if a system like this can handle all the delivery, all the grading, and all the admin, what does that mean for human educators? As AI starts to take over the nuts and bolts of instruction, what's the new role for the human teacher? It's a fascinating question and definitely something to think about.